everyone has their life to live, and it's an individual's choice. And in the modern world, we all take a certain amount of drugs. If you drink coffee or tea, you know, those are drugs. If you eat, if you drink Coke, it's caffeine, it's a drug. Okay, there's lots of sugar in everything, and manufactured refined sugar is a drug. So it's kind of unavoidable, but some drugs are much worse for you than others. For example, tobacco, alcohol, you know, cocaine, heroin, all these things are very, very bad for the body. So, you know, morally, it's up to each individual whether they want to do those things or not. It's your life, your body, time. But if you are looking to train in parkour, which is based on physical fitness and strength, those things, tobacco and alcohol especially, they work against your training. So if you do those things, it will slow down your training and it will make your training less effective. Very few, back home anyway, and most communities we go to in the world, parkour people are very health conscious. They all eat very healthily, none of them smoke, none of them drink very much, maybe a little bit, but not much. No one does drugs. All very, very healthy people on the whole, in most countries. But it depends on the country. For example, recently we were in Italy, and culturally in Italy, you know, it's a different culture. And we ran a seminar there with like 350 people or something. Anyway, after the training, all of them, pretty much all of them, like cigarettes. and me and Blaine and Stefan, and, you know, they train very hard, they work, they rest, they run, they jump, and then and all of them do that. So culturally, it's just what they do. You know, for us it's very strange, but culturally it's what they do, so okay, that's what they do. Interesting question. And every country has to, every community has to approach the development of parkour in its own way, different way. So in Russia it won't necessarily develop exactly the same as it did in the UK or France. It will develop in its own way. Maybe in terms of making it official here, you have a long way to go. You know, to convince your government to accept parkour, you have a long way to go maybe. And maybe it will be harder than it was in Europe. But in terms of the practicing community, I don't think Russia is behind anywhere in terms of practicing community. There are lots of very strong practitioners in Russia. So in terms of the discipline here, which is the most important thing, I think you guys aren't necessarily behind. It's quite strong here. There's loads of guys here that are really strong, fit, good level. So I think it's okay. Yeah, I mean, in many other countries it may be more developed officially, but the community of practitioners is far less developed in those countries, some other countries, than it is here. So I don't think you've got a problem there at all. Your fight is going to be making it recognised by your government, and you know, that's a difficult fight. But the only way you can do that is by kind of the way in Europe first, to just make sure the quality of what you're doing is always very high, and that the people who are doing it are, you know, good people and doing it for the right reasons. Eventually, the government and the authorities will recognise that and start to recognise you. I think the thing, first for me, I think the best thing to do is to, you know, act rather than talk. So actions generally speak louder than words. So if you use parkour for good things, then eventually the community around you, the non-parkour community, will begin to recognise the benefit of it. So if you teach children who need it, if you go and teach people that don't have any access to good sports coaches, if you help clean up the environment, you know, and make your cities better places and look after them and protect them, eventually the community around you will see that parkour is a good thing, and that parkour practitioners are good people, and then in time it will get recognised. So it's a long road, but I think that's the best way to do it personally. It depends on who you're dealing with.